Where are you moving to? Do you have a full-time job? What will happen with Brenda and Ned? Are you seeing anyone right now?
Well, hello, Work Besties. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and thank you for being here. We've got a fun one for you today. I'm finally going to answer some of y'all's burning question about, content creation, my personal life, my career. Y'all submitted your questions and I haven't seen them yet because I don't want to cheat on my responses, prepare them ahead of time. Shall we get into it? This is my lovely assistant, by the way. He's behind the camera. Before someone asks, he's not Work Bestie.
Question number one. How did you get started on social media?
I started posting in November of 2020 on TikTok. So it was middle of the pandemic. I really was bored. I had nothing to do. We were in lockdown for most of the first year. And I started making content about basically work because I was like, what else am I doing with my life right now? And I noticed a lot of people started to tune in and comment. Comments like, I thought I was alone in this, or I thought I was the only one that was going through this. And then I put more intention behind it. And now we're here. So didn't start out with the goal of being a content creator. Just kind of happened.
How has your life changed since, quote unquote, your Instagram fame?
My Instagram fame? It's funny because my initial reaction is not a lot has changed. But then there's also certain areas of my life that have changed. Like it's kind of changed the course of my career. Years ago, I wasn't getting recognized on the streets. And now Work Besties come and say hi to me all the time, which is amazing. So it's little changes like that. But I would say in my core foundational life, not a ton has changed. I don't know. I don't know if I'm giving enough credit to myself of how much has actually changed. I just think the last couple of years in general, there's been so much change, so to pinpoint it specifically in content creation is challenging because I'm like, the last few years have just been so wild that so much has changed. Terrible answer, but that's the one I'm going with.
Okay, slight pivot here.
We're pivoting. A little corporate word for you.
Any tips for organizing work items?
Oh, it totally depends how you work and your style of work. So for me, organizing things lists. I'm such a pen to paper kind of girl when it comes to organization. So I will make lists for everything, whether it's a specific project, it's general task lists. That is how I organize everything. And then I'm calendars on calendars. So I have like deliverable calendars for content creation. I have meeting calendars. I have life calendars. I just keep track of everything through lists and calendars. But honestly, you really have to figure out what works for you.
What are some red flags from an employer during an interview?
Ooh, I guess it depends who's interviewing you. Like I've been interviewed by the manager I'm going to be directly reporting for, and then I've been interviewed by the HR team who really in the job I'm going into, I won't be working with them in a great capacity. So I would say if you're getting interviewed by someone you're working directly with, understanding their management styles, getting a feel kind of for the culture, how do people work within the environment? I always tend to ask expectations of work. Is this a company culture that works well beyond kind of the standard structured hours? How much expectation is there around working evenings and weekends? I personally think unlimited PTO is a bit of a scam. Yeah, just getting a really good feel for them. Red flags are hard because a red flag is different for everyone. Like an environment that I'm gonna excel in might not be the same that you're gonna excel in. So I think first is understanding what a red flag environment is for you in a working capacity, and then asking questions that kind of give you a feel for what that's going to be like.
Where are you moving to?
This has been a big one lately, which makes sense because I won't shut up about it. It's my whole personality. So I am making a big move. I currently live in the greater Toronto area. I'm Canadian, for anyone who doesn't know that. I'm going West Coast. West Coast Canada. I'm staying in Canada. I get that question often too. I'm staying in Canada. I'm heading all the way west. If you don't kind of know geographically Canada, Toronto is pretty east. And where the move is happening to, it's 48 hours of driving?
I think nearly, it's like 4,500 kilometers.
4,500 kilometers. Like if I was gonna fly there, it's about a 5-hour flight. I've lived in this general area my entire life. I've spent a lot of time out west and I absolutely love it. And it's been something I've wanted to do for many, many years now.
What inspired the move, and did you consider other places?
The West Coast and my experience out there has aligned a lot more with my interests and my hobbies, and weather-wise, like it's more me.
So not business related?
So it's not business related, no. This is completely personal. I've been craving for a long time a place that feels like home, and I know home is a feeling, but I want to live in a place I'm excited about and I want to show off to people and makes me feel like I'm home in that physical space, and I've never felt that. It's funny, I was seeing a friend out in San Diego a couple weeks ago, and at the end of our dinner, he like looked out to the city and he was just like, I love this city. I am so proud to call this home. That is a feeling I'm looking for in a place that I live. So it's been a long time coming, just getting a lot of ducks in a row, if you will, to make it happen. Did I consider other areas? I considered areas within BC. So we kind of went through a lot of, this city or this city, and then looked in it from like a realistic perspective of the housing market and the traffic and other things like that. And so we explored many areas in BC, but it's always been West Coast.
Are the pups joining you on this move?
Of course they're joining me. I keep getting that, like, are the puppies coming with you? I'm like, where else would they go? Those are my babies. Yes, they're coming and they're gonna love it. They're gonna love being West Coast girlies. They will thrive out there. They've got rain jackets. We're good. We're good.
How tall are you?
I am 5'11". That's what, 180 centimeters for anyone who's on that system of measurement. But yes, I'm 5'11". I love being tall. I've been tall my whole life. I still wear heels. Don't get me wrong. I will go taller if I can. I absolutely love being tall.
How often do you practice yoga, and do you teach it as well?
I do teach. I've been teaching for about 8 or 9 years. I've been practicing since 2013. I think the practice of yoga, when people ask that, they are usually alluding to the practice of asana, so the physical movement of yoga, whereas yoga is so much more than that. So I practice yoga quite often, but the physical practice, the movement practice, anywhere between, 1 to 2 times a week.
What do you value most in a friendship?
One is depth. So I love one-to-one deep conversation. I love asking questions. I love getting curious. Like someone who really asks and wants to know about you, wants to know your thoughts on things, really values you. So I would say depth. And then the second one would be low maintenance. I'm a low maintenance friend. I just do not have the energy to text all the time. If I'm texting you, it's to make plans to, hang out. So I'm definitely the friend that we could go weeks without speaking and we see each other and we pick up just where we left off. Those would be my top 2.
What's your coffee order?
Oatmeal cappuccino.
What is your favorite snack?
Popcorn.
I'm sure you could go in depth on this, but
don't.
Skincare and hair care routine.
We gotta be more specific. And this is coming from a skincare girl. It's like, are we talking about products? Are we talking about wrinkles? Like I get Botox to avoid the creasing in my forehead, personal choice. If you don't do it, wrinkles are beautiful, completely up to you. I use different products on my face for my skin type. I think diet plays into skincare quite a bit. I think genetics plays into it quite a bit. There's a lot of things skincare wise that we gotta get more specific with the questions, but I would say generally what I do for like caring for my skin every day is I only wash my skin once a day, so it's usually in the evening. In the morning, I just rinse with cold water. I do serums, more active ingredients in the evening, and the morning is vitamin C and a really hydrating moisturizer, of course SPF. And then hair care, I've been loving Amika, their shampoo and conditioner, and honestly, like mostly all of their products, their leave-in conditioners, they've worked really well for my hair. But I will also say, I've always had hair that's grown really fast, so like, no, they're not extensions either. I do get that question quite a bit, but my hair, I just got it cut. Grows super, super fast. I have really fine hair and I have a lot of it.
What advice do you have for someone switching jobs?
General advice for switching jobs. I would say, get curious, be open to being a student again, absorb a lot of information, ask questions. You don't shy away from asking questions. It doesn't make you look inexperienced. I've always really admired people who can ask questions and who can be humble enough to say, I don't know the answer to that, where can I find more information? Approach it with like beginner's curiosity. Treat people how you want to be remembered. I would say that it's a brand new start, and so it's a fantastic opportunity to set your boundaries. Believe in yourself. You got the job for a reason. You're there for a reason, and go crush it. Do
you have a full-time job, or are you a full-time content creator?
I do have a full-time job, and content creation is part of it. So in the last year, I've actually transitioned into owning my own corporation. So I have my own business now. I'm building out my team. I have a couple members already, and there's lots of different areas to the business, and content creation is definitely one of them. Digital marketing is more how I would frame that from a business perspective. We've got lots of different ventures we're going on and areas of the business, and it's super exciting. So while content creation is still part of my day-to-day, I have a full full-time job aside from that as well.
Content creation, career, travel. How do you find time to do it all and have time for yourself?
Oh, it's the million-dollar question. I think it's important to check in often with yourself and realize you can't do everything all the time in balance and keep going. When something takes priority, something else has to give. And when I'm in a heavy travel season, that is the priority at the time and other things have to give out. So my life is a lot of planning. I plan out weeks in advance. I will actually go through and check to make sure that I have personal time slotted into the week enough to take care of myself, whether that's attending a yoga class or meeting up with a friend. Because I find when I'm in that week, it's way too overwhelming to like try to plan everything. So I will actually plan everything out well in advance. And then giving yourself the grace to slow down and rest and realize that's productive. Understanding, and to press a little on the gas and kind of when to ease off of that and take a break and start to prioritize other things within your life. So there's no perfect balance. I think I found a place in my life where it works well for me.
In those cases, how would you personally handle burnout?
Burnout. One thing on burnout is not failure. I think burnout is a reminder that you need to prioritize yourself, but there's like this weird stigma around burnout that it's like some people see it as like weakness or you can't do enough. And for me, it's inevitable within a career, especially when you work in a creative space and you're constantly giving so much of your energy to your work. I think burnout is just an opportunity to reprioritize yourself, maybe take on a little bit less in a working capacity or kind of, scale back a little bit. But for me, burnout, it means coming back to the basics. So am I eating to nourish my body? Am I getting enough movement? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I doing things that bring me joy?
How did Project Poodles turn out?
Project Poodles is still underway. Like every corporate project, it gets delayed 46,000 times before it actually sees the light of day. So it's getting there. It's a slow grind, but it's well on its way in corporate fashion.
What would your power be if you could have any superpower?
Any superpower? I wouldn't want to be invisible because I feel like I'd just get my feelings hurt. Super strength? No, I like to work for my strength. Oh, a photographic memory would be fun.
Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have an older sister and a younger brother.
Are you seeing anyone right now, and can we meet them?
So yes, online I am quite private about my personal life. I am seeing someone. I've been in a relationship for many years now. Some of you have noticed my ring, but we are engaged. We've been engaged for 2 years, over 2 years. No plan on a wedding anytime soon, just really not a priority, which sounds funny being engaged. We were actually friends well before we ever started dating, so we have quite a long history of knowing each other. He's been in some content just kind of casually. Will you ever meet him in more of a personal fashion? I think that depends on his comfort level. I think it's important in relationships to understand that I chose social media and I chose being online, and he didn't necessarily choose that, and he's not someone that's overly comfortable in front of the camera. And I think over time it's going to be if it makes sense and if he's comfortable and just kind of respecting those boundaries. So potentially.
Do you have a 5 or 10-year plan?
No. I know myself well enough to realize I have no idea the person I'm going to be, the priorities I'm going to have in 5 to 10 years. And so planning that far out to me is a waste of time. Will I plan a year out? Sure. Anything beyond that stops me from growing to my potential because it kind of puts blinders on of like, this is where you need to go. Whereas I'm like, my 5-year plan is be open to opportunities, I guess, and know that you're going to pivot and change and shift and grow and welcome that at all new times, and you're allowed to change the direction of your life at any point in time. So I do not plan 5 years out. I sure as heck don't plan 10 years out.
What was your dream job at 15 years old?
My dream job was always to be some kind of life or career coach. And hear me out. Not because the profession itself, but because in aspiring to be that, I understood or understand that I wanted to collect as many life experiences as possible, constantly being open to different things and collecting so much experience so that at some point in my life, I'm able to share that with others after having gone through so many different things and trying out so many different things. So it wasn't necessarily about the job. It was more about the journey to get to that destination that really intrigued me.
How long does it take you to make a video from start to finish?
Depends on the video. If it's a multiple character video, I always start with scripting, and I never do that the same day I do filming. So the script can take half an hour depending on how creative I'm feeling and the idea behind it. And then the filming itself, let's say, could take 30 to 40 minutes. Editing's another 10. It's probably like an hour for like a skit video. That'd be my best guess. But again, it depends on the content.
Are your work colleagues your friends, and how do you maintain that balance?
In my experience, my work colleagues, we've always had good relationships. There's a few colleagues that we are, work friends, and we're also real life outside of work friends. I think that being friendly with colleagues is awesome, but I don't always think that in-office friendships translate well to the outside world. And so it just depends kind of along the way who I've met, who I've connected with, and if it's been on a greater than work kind of capacity.
How do you leave a job without burning any bridges?
I feel like more context is required. Like, why are you leaving this job? Is it, a toxic workplace? Do you have a good relationship with your manager? But I think being honest and being upfront about things and being direct, if there are things that you think the workplace can improve on, structuring that in a respectful, constructive way versus a like, you suck and I hated this here and blah, blah, blah. More offering like helpful feedback ultimately just comes down to respect. You don't have to love everyone you work with, and maybe you're leaving because it's not the best work environment for you. But I think there's a way to phrase that doesn't burn bridges. For example, if you're leaving a work environment that just like has not allowed you to thrive, you're not doing well in it, say it's a work environment that I'm not able to thrive in. Not this is the worst work environment ever, this is an awful place, because for some people that environment might work really well and it's your experience that you're kind of expressing and you don't want to speak on behalf of everyone around you. Or just kind of go along with the philosophy of if you don't want however you're quitting to be read in court, don't say it. That's kind of how I go back. If someone read this to me in the future, whether in court or like on a different day, would I still stand behind how I approach that? Remove emotion from it as much as you can and just objectively, respectfully quit.
What did you study in school, and did you go directly into that field?
I graduated with an honors in business. I originally actually wanted to go into the digital marketing realm, how things come full circle, but I went into IT and worked on the business side of IT, which I absolutely loved and so happy I went in that direction. I got exposed to so many different aspects of the business. I got to touch on a lot of things that were applicable to marketing.
What are your dogs' names, and what breed are they?
So my dogs are Whippets. They are on the smaller end of Whippets, so some people think they're little Iggies, but they're not. Oakley, Kona, come. They're such good listeners. They did go to school. Hi, you want to be in the video? Yes, you do. This is Oakley. She is just over 4 years old. You said I turned 4 in May. She was taking a snooze. And then this is Kona. She will be 4 in November. And she's really good at Frisbee. That goes on your resume. Skilled Frisbee catcher.
How old are you?
I am the ripe age of 29.
What will happen with Brenda and Ned?
I can't wait to see how that plays out. Hi, honey. I think we're gonna have to wait and see. Office romances are tricky, so I'm looking forward to how they kind of navigate that. I have a feeling Brenda's gonna be quite by the books, a little bit of a don't date your coworkers kind of idea, and Ned seems a little respectful, which is a great thing. So I feel like he might not try to push it, but then also there's Donna Sue who might try to, just put them in the same room at the same time and try to make it happen. So we don't know. I hope you've gotten to know me a little bit better beyond, my content I create online. Thank you for allowing me to take up this space and for watching this video and being open to learning more about me. I appreciate you being here. Truly, thank you. And we'll chat soon. All right, work besties. Toodaloo.